Gentleman from Adams County, Mr. Moul is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I get started, and I can assure you I can't do mine in 2 minutes, I would be remiss if I did not say thank you once again to the Gettysburg Junior ROTC and to the Cumberland Valley High School Chorus. You certainly are the future of our country, and it is up to each and every one of us in this chamber to make sure that we leave this place a better place for you than what we found it. Yesterday, 150 years ago, Abraham Lincoln arrived in Gettysburg on a train and was met by several or hundreds of his followers, a friend of his by the name of David Wills, a local attorney in Gettysburg, where he would spend the night along with 37 other people hosted in his home. They made their way up the hill to the square of Gettysburg, where David Wills had his residence, as well as his law practice. They enjoyed an evening of camaraderie, companionship, maybe a libation or two, I'm not sure about that one. But that's where Lincoln decided to spend the night, on the second floor in a bedroom. Most of us who live in that area choose to believe that's where the Gettysburg Address was drafted. Some say it was finished there. None of us will really know for sure. But fast forward 145 years, till 5 years ago, when an organization called Main Street Gettysburg looked at the David Wills house and said, this thing is a landmark and it is falling in disrepair. This is a very historical place. We have to do what we can to preserve it. They started a letter writing campaign, one of which was to yours truly. They needed to find help, not only from government, but from private funding. And they did. And they turned the David Wills house into an excellent museum, historical to the day, even to the point where all the mortar and all the bricks are painted. But during the reconstruction of the David Wills house, or refurbishment, if you will, some of the members of the Main Street Gettysburg Committee got together and said, we need to go find whatever period furniture and attire from that day we can find. Now, David Wills had died in 1894, and his estate was left to 4 daughters, of which scattered out. This committee found themselves in the state of Ohio, speaking to a descendant of David Wills, an elderly couple, if you will. And while they were sitting in their living room talking about what might still be available, that might still be in the family, they said they're really trying to get the bedroom back to the way it was. Do they know of or have pictures of maybe from that day or that period so that they could replicate it? And this elderly couple said, I think we can help you out. The committee said, gosh, we'd really like to see what the bed looked like. We need pictures of the bed. The elderly couple said, well, we can lend you the bed and the dresser. They said, what? Yeah, we still have the bed and the dresser. We have that. It's here. He said, you'd be willing to lend that to us? Well, sure we would. But then we'd have to find something else to sleep in. Needless to say, they have a brand new bedroom suite. Lincoln made his way to the cemetery 150 years ago today, followed by hundreds of people. And in his brief and historic speech, Lincoln told the assembled crowd that while few people would remember his words that day, They and future generations must never forget what occurred here. He paid tribute to those whose blood was shed on the battlefield so that the nation might live. In little more than 2 minutes, Lincoln eloquently stated the significance of their sacrifice and our responsibility to uphold and protect the ideals on which we collectively stand. Lincoln was in Gettysburg to honor the dead and dedicate their final resting place, but his message was for the living. For it was those who were left standing on that historic day, and all who came after, who bear the responsibility to ensure our democracy and the liberty it affords us are protected. Our nation is a work in progress. We must continue to strive for a more perfect nation, a more perfect union. It begins with each one of us here. It starts in this chamber. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, thanks, gentlemen.